Seen that. Seen a couple of photos from Philadelphia where Paul was watching it.
I've seen that too, yeah.
See it in Glasgow. See letting me back into town and stuff. Don't know, it was a kind of perfect result for the authorities, and because everybody knew we were going to win. It was just how much we were going to win by, and if you took 8 off them, who knows what they would have done. But it seemed to me that they'd made their peace, that was like their last hurrah sort of thing. I don't know, but that's what came across to me, and they were just trying to be as vile and as controversial as they possibly could. And I'm totally against that offensive behaviour at Football Act. I think it's a disgrace. But if they were to enforce it, then they should have arrested nearly their full support. It was because the songs were absolutely vile.
Well, from the first minute you heard the Billy Boys, from the first minute you hear that loud and clear on the TV. Like, we got a phone call coming in. Carly Shamrock, who could this be? Which one of the Carly Shamrock? Well, they're gone now, for fuck's sake. What happened there?
Because you've obviously added them to the call.
I did.
What's the wait? 20 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
Here, those Carly boys, they don't play by the rules. They do what they want. You mentioned the singing. The Billy Boys you could hear loud and clear on the TV straight away. Now, in fairness, I didn't hear an awful lot of songs come from our end in terms of what shouldn't have been sung. Not that I really give the bollocks anyway.
No, at the end of the day, singing. I don't give a shit what they sing. It just shows them up for what they are. I don't want them to arrested for singing a song. I'm not getting my knickers in a twist, but it wasn't very pleasant in the eardrums sitting near them. But at the end of the day, me and my mates were just laughing when I'm singing it. You just think, what's that all about in this day and age? They need to drag themselves forward a couple of centuries.
Were you sitting near the Wishaw Cross Keys flag?
Nah, I wasn't, mate. No.
I can see
I was in the north stand across for the TV. It's kind of like 3/4 of the way up to the back and about the second section into the middle.
Because I can see the Wishaw Cross Keys flag front and centre every frame of the game.
Aye, it's quite a big flag the boys have got, eh?
It was sitting there right at the edge of the track. But I think you mentioned a bit of an anticlimax. I did feel that as well, kind of halfway through as it going, because it wasn't a contest. You know what I mean? And the contest used to make it nervy because there was a chance you could get beat, even when you played really, really well. You can still get beat. I mean things like Rod Wallace scoring against us, we played really well. You know what I mean? Losing the game. You know what I mean? Say the cup final. You know what I mean? But you had those moments. You always had those feelings. But see on Sunday there, it just didn't exist. I mean, I was still obviously delighted when the goal went in. It was fucking going mental, especially because Commons goal was a smashing strike. Right? But Lee Griffiths, I was delighted for him because he fucking loves to noise them up. Right, and you could see it in the celebration, which he got booked for. I think we finally figured that out. He got booked. There was a bit of a confusion whether he got booked or not, but he did get booked. Now he didn't leave the pitch. He just put his hands behind his ears and he stood in front of them with his arms out. Now, I don't know, how do you get booked for that?
Exactly. And I think the ref was an absolute joke. Oh. That one that he pulled the play back for Brown. This was speaking through. That was a fucking disgrace. But see, at the end of the day, I think he's definitely scoring there. And then you could be looking at a cricket score.
Yeah.
So I think it was job done for them, but the referee was as poor as they come. Absolutely terrible. But there you go. It was definitely men against boys, and the quips with the Celtic players after it. And it was like it's good to rub their noses in it, obviously, but there is no competition, absolutely none.
No.
And see if we draw them in the Scottish Cup, and you're getting the revisionists coming out and saying, "Oh, there's a one-off game and stuff like that." No chance. This is men against boys.
I mean, their entire game was...
Do I need to phone in here or what?
We're going to bring you in a second. Here, listen, normally I talk for 5 minutes and let you fuckers go on for an hour and then sit here in silence, right?
It's been on for about 20 minutes.
Oh, nuts. Actually, you're right. No, there's one more thing. I mean, their game plan was long ball up to fucking Kenny Miller.
They didn't have a game plan.
Aye, that works.
But that was it.
I agree with you, Harper. I don't need a game plan.
So anyway, Harper.
Just tell.
Let's bring you in as soon as you're feeling lonely. Shoulder to shoulder, standing room only in the pub.
Aye, well, like Jason, I want to go back to the night before. Vicky went away for a night out. I started watching a film and that, and I just couldn't stop thinking about the football. It was like back in the old days, sort of thing. And as Jason says, me and him, he says, I says, I'm actually going to go to my bed early, just so then it'll be time to get up to go to football, to go watch football. I was that excited. And exact same as Jason, it's not a popular thing to say, but never missed the game. I've never missed a game in the last 3 years, I haven't. But when Friday it started to kick in at my work. Oh yes, weekends coming, fucking Celtic v Sevco. And I'm telling you, I was buzzing for when I finished my work on Friday.
Yeah.
So I can't deny that. Absolutely buzzing for it. Out Sunday, went out kind of not that early, but an hour before kick-off. Thought I'd get to the pub, get a decent spot, and I was I was gobsmacked when I walked in, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm even going to get anybody to stand here in the pub." I've never seen that many people in the pub. So anybody who wants to say this is just another game should have been in Drogheda on Sunday. I done a head count in the bit where the big screen is where we were watching the game. There was 45 in there, and that fills that room like you know yourself. It's a funny shape. And then there was another 20 plus in the back lounge with the screen where the big fire is and all that. So you're talking about 65, 70 people in for the game. As we mentioned last week, there was a few boys came back who had been at Paul Larkin's the Asterisk years night that we had here in Drogheda. So it was good that we've definitely got a knock-on effect for that as a club, which was great. But it's just great to just go in and feel like there's not been many. Even when we used to play the old Rangers, you maybe only get 25, 30, maybe 35 in for double that amount, and it just felt like a day for years and years and years ago when you used to, and felt like back in Scotland, if you know what I mean. A proper Celtic Rangers day, if you like. And I was absolutely buzzing for that. Everybody in the pub was buzzing. But like you say, 5 minutes into the game and you just knew there was no way. It was just a matter of when we were going to score, how many we were going to score. And that was really it. I couldn't really comment on the atmosphere of the game because you couldn't really hear it. You could only barely hear the commentary in the pub because the pub was quite noisy, obviously, you know. But I think probably a lot of that has to do with Hampden as well, Jason. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but I always found Hampden a bit of a buzz killer whenever I went. It was great in the old days when you used to stand in that big huge terrace in there, like, without the roof. But it's a stadium I just don't like.
Oh, I think it's not too bad, Harper. But what I will say is, I remember a few years ago when you played the old team, you would go in to see if you got into the North Stand. They'd be standing just over for you. You see this one, they had the old temporary metal gates and all that up, so you couldn't even see them. You know, so they went major overboard in this. But I'm actually one of these folk. I don't mind Hampden. You know, I know, but for the park, the park was a place. But the stadium, I don't know. I think it's all right. I'm not one of these massive critics of it. I don't think we need it, to be honest with you. But I think it's okay. But I think, to be honest with you, mate, it was just actually there was no excitement on the park. The game was over as a contest after the first goal went in.
Yeah,
but it doesn't really. I mean, games gone by, and we didn't need to keep saying the old team and the new team. Right, we all know what we're talking about, right? So I don't think though. I mean, for a game that's 3 years in the making, if you like, it shouldn't have really needed things on the park to kick things off in the stands, if you know what I mean.
I don't know.
I think it'd have been a different kettle of fish if it'd been at Celtic Park or Ibrox, to be honest. Like, atmosphere-wise.
I'll be honest with you, Harper. The game was a non-event, so I think, see, we've got a non-event in the park. I don't think you can get an atmosphere in the stadium. It's like, see if they'd scored and they were pressurising us and then we got a goal, you're going absolutely bonkers, you know, and you're in tenterhooks and it's like you're buzzing. But it was just like, I mean, and the thing is, as well, they've not got any humour in them whatsoever. It's bile constantly. And I mean, the thing is, we're giving it always looking the bright side of life. We're fun about laughing, and they just don't get the irony. They don't get that. The best way of them to noise us up was to join in with it, and take the piss out themselves.
Can't
You
do
know,
that,
because
though.
at
Can't do
the end
that.
of the day, they've got 20-odd thousand there watching a second division team. So they've got that to sort of boast about, you know, and where were you when you were shit or something? Singing something daft at us, you know, but they don't. They just don't. They don't get it. They know that they've had a humour bypass.
It's because they've got that superiority
That's it.
complex.
Aye.
Like, no?
It's not, you know, we're better than you.
But see, the thing is, the thing that got me is, when was the last time you heard them singing "Oh No, Pope Rome"? Must have been, I don't know, I think it must have been 10 years ago. You know, 10, 15 years ago. But you can imagine that you go to a game and start singing "Fuck the Jews" or whatever. What would happen to you?
You'd be locked up.
You know, but that's socially acceptable in Scotland for
Well,
them.
they were commended.
They're commended and saying about a great atmosphere, and you just say to yourself, where do you go here? You know, and
I think that just comes through the relief that they've no went out and battered all their women and all that. Do you know what I mean? That's the result.
As Willie Waddle
Willie Waddle will be doing a fucking
Everyone misses a bit of a bashing. That's how much it means to these people.
See, like, to talk about, obviously, the pub then, it was completely different here, like, because we had our own wee ballad group members for the club sort of doing their debut, and our place was bouncing. Start to finish, like, no, everybody was in the party atmosphere, the party spirit. So, no, we thoroughly enjoyed it here. So I have to say it was a wee bit different in that regard. But
well, we tried to go up the Gallagate. We went to Merchant City, then tried to go up the Gallagate. It was all ticket everywhere. So ended up a pub at Glasgow Cross. So the tunes on and stuff. But I think if you didn't have a ticket, I think it was more geared up for those that didn't go to the game. Because see, the time we walked back through the Gorbals and that and get back to town, a lot of the good pubs anyway were all stowed out. You couldn't get at them, you know. So it was kind of but a lot of people see. I was in town till about nearly midnight. And see, getting a taxi, the place was deserted. I think a lot of people had heeded. You know, a lot of people were a bit terrified of going out. But interestingly enough, one of my friends, a good friend of mine, who he had a minibus left his house, go to the game. And they're in the kind of pub game as well. And like he says, like Celtic pubs in general, and this would go for Sevco pubs as well. When that game's on, they will probably, between a normal Sunday and that Sunday, they'll probably maybe take about 5 times the takings. And obviously your pub would be the same, the one you were in.
Oh, easily. Like, he was absolutely over the moon, like, no, and I felt good about that because obviously we had as I said, we had the Asterisk years the week before.
Seat for a load of people to turn up.
But it was good the fact that we had it in the pub across the road. That isn't really the pub that we use, but we had to get it for the venue. So I was delighted that many turned up on Sunday. So he got his due, because the pub that we're usually in, because he missed out the week before. So he made a fortune, because I tell you now they all drink, like, you know. I just want to mention actually two of the boys that listen to this who Joe would have met last week, Gary Doyle and Tony. What I can't remember Andy's second name, Tony. Remember Joe, two boys that listen to the show, but they were both in, and I didn't get a chance to spend more time with them, you know, that way, because I kind of go and talk to everybody and that. I mean, probably a bit like yourself, Jason, and you end up going to sit with them for 5 minutes and them for 10.
The mayor.
Blah, blah, and I didn't get a chance to.
I'm the shy retiring.
I know Tony. What Tony actually had said to me when you introduced me a few of the boys. I says, "Aye, right, I'll be back in a minute." And I never got around to doing stuff like that, like, no. I felt quite bad, like, no. But hopefully Gary and Tony will keep coming in, like, no, and they'll get to know all the boys anyway, like, no. So, but no, that's been great. I've really enjoyed that side of it, and hopefully, obviously, they'll be nothing like that for the game against Dundee on Saturday. It's stupid. Back to half 12 kickoffs on Saturday. But hopefully the boys will keep coming back and join the club and start travelling to games and just grow for there, like, no. But I'm absolutely delighted,
I'm getting texts now. I'm going to almost get pulled up for my carry on Sunday night. It says, taxi at midnight. It says, try 1:30. There you go. So, there you go. So it must have been about 1:30. I tried to get a taxi home, but I thoroughly enjoyed my night. And it's funny, I'll give Big Gash a shout out. Big Gash, he drives the London Underground. And I walked back into the tin with him, and he says he listens to the show all the time. So a big shout out to Gash. And his favourite bit of the show is Harper's trousers. He's laughing. He says, that's some laughing at the trousers.
If you're fucking in my position.
I know. But, no, that's it. No, so glad to get out the road, and the buzz before it was brilliant, and getting the bus and the